Hey, my name is Colton Pointz, and I'm with McMahon on keys.
So have y'all been doing some other things today already?
I ended up trying to go to the Lainey and Trisha conference, the Lainey Wilson and Trisha Yearwood.
Trying to go? Did you get in?
No, they ended up closing it off at a certain point, so I didn't get to go in. But
you didn't do the "Do you know who I am" thing?
I would never do that.
That didn't work?
I just would never even try it, no matter who I am. Just not a good way to go.
Well, you know, I remember I did an interview one time with a guy from Twisted Sister, the rock band.
Yeah.
And he had met Johnny Cash and was telling me that Johnny Cash had said, "Hey, when y'all come to Nashville, do you think you can get me in to the show?" Me and Waylon.
Yeah.
And he was like, "You're in Nashville. If you're Johnny Cash, can't you just walk in?"
Yeah, and everyone clears out of the way.
Wherever you are.
Yeah.
I figured Colton Pointz is like that. No?
No, never.
We're going? Okay, so CRS, second day of CRS. Welcome, Colton Pointz.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
You're here. Now, this is your first CRS.
It is. I moved to town 5 months ago, so this is
from?
Originally, I lived in Pennsylvania, but moved to Florida. My family about 5 years ago, and then moved here.
Okay, and this is going to be a little different interview than some of us because you and I kind of got pulled together. I'm apparently supposed to entertain my competition as a piano player now, which I'm not crazy about. I was hoping to retain a little job security. Now I've got to look over my shoulder. I don't know exactly what all you're doing in town. I did get to see what I assume was your first opportunity to perform at the Bluebird Cafe.
Yes, that was my debut.
Yeah, and that was just a few days ago.
It was last Thursday.
So a lot of people, that's on their bucket list of things to do. That's kind of an aspirational thing. Did you know that was on your radar when you were coming to Nashville?
I dreamed that it would be.
Yeah.
I thought it just was going to take a really long time because I was in a band for a long time, so I never viewed myself as much as the singer-songwriter type. So I just thought like, well, I'm not going to be that Bluebird guy. It's probably a long time before I really get the chance to do it. It was great. It was such an honor.
Well, what kind of band? When you say you were in a band, what were you doing?
We were a country cover band, essentially, but I was writing originals for the band pretty much the entire time. And so when I moved here, I just took all the music that I had done with them, and I wrote them pretty much all by myself, so I was able to kind of be free to do with what I want with them. So. And
with that band, were you the keyboard player?
I was we actually didn't have a bass for a long time, so I played piano. We had a lead singer who played acoustic and drums, and so but I did all Tim McGraw's stuff, mostly just like really famous cover stuff. But we traveled a lot. We started in a small town in Florida, but we went and opened for Eli Young and did the national anthem at the White Sox game, all that stuff. So we had a wild.
So was it a vocal band? Obviously you can hold down your end of the vocal stuff. Was it a vocal band? Were y'all doing?
Yeah, we always did harmony with me, and when I first started the band, I never sang at all, and I only started singing out of necessity because I wanted to write, and so I needed to show people, the song. So I learned how to sing harmony, which now is like my favorite thing to do in music. And we didn't become a vocal band until we got a bass player who could also sing, and then we started really like incorporating cool harmony and stuff. But
okay, so that's interesting that you say that because I think I agree with you. I'm wondering what your reasons are. But when you say, you play guitar, you play piano, you write songs. You just said your favorite thing is singing harmonies. What is it about that makes that your favorite thing?
Well, my favorite band is the Eagles, so that should tell you a good bit right there. And there's something so special, because it's such a difficult thing to do, to really get it right, and you get the vibration just right. You hit the perfect fourth, the perfect third. There's just something special about it. That's what, for me, always gave me those goosebumps. Yeah. And so, now that I'm here in town, I'm a solo artist. When I think about putting my band together, one of my priorities is getting people who can sing as well as play really well, because I always felt that was something that took people over the top. I even think about the acts that have played here. I saw Cody Johnson and Bailey Zimmerman and all those guys yesterday. And Cody Johnson did full live performance, no tracks.
Right.
And his harmonies in the band were just unbelievable. And to me, that's what just really sets somebody apart. So.
Well, and the thing that I like about it, I mean, you know, the Eagles, they find their thing and they have their thing. You know, they know, okay, we're going to do the next song. They have a sense of where everybody needs to go, how it's going to fit together. Mm-hmm. See, I end up playing with lots of different people doing lots of different things. And I still kind of get a kick out of, you know, figuring you out. You know, I'm singing harmony to you and you're going to do this thing. It's got this little curly deal that, I mean, think about the guy that sang backup, sang harmony for like George Jones.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about work.
Yeah, right, yeah.
But at the same time, it's somebody that doesn't just know how to sing, they know how to listen.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, and that was the hardest part, you know, for going and singing harmony was, you know, now that I sing lead, it's just such a different thing. When I first started singing, because I didn't really know how to sing, I would always just attach to the lead. Right. It was really hard for me to kind of separate the two. And I'm really glad that I took that time, though, to learn harmony, because now, once I get my own band together, I kind of understand the arrangement a little more.
Sure.
And so it's a lot more fun when you can really get, you know, you can throw the second in there or something to kind of give a little suspension somewhere.
Right.
You know, so that stuff's cool to me.
Well, so what is the time frame that we're talking about? Because I know I don't remember anything specifically that you said while we were at the Bluebird, but I remember comments like, yeah, I wrote this song back when I was a kid, and I'm thinking, what time is it now? You know? I mean,
yeah.
I've got some mileage that you don't have.
Yeah.
So certainly you've done things over a period of years, but when did you quit the role with the band, and when did you start thinking of yourself as your own artist?
About 5 months ago. We did a final summer tour. I was with the band for 3 years.
Okay.
And like I said, when I first started, I didn't sing. Really, I only played piano, and then kind of honed my skills with the band and found that I ended up wanting to be the front man kind of thing, and I just thought there was something cool about having the piano in the center. And so that's what we kind of try to do when we do live shows, is like when you see the stage set up, it's like you get the piano in the middle, which is just so different in this town. So we're hoping that kind of gives like a visual appeal, you know. But when I first moved here, you know, it was scary because I didn't really know what I was going to do. I was kind of jumping into nothing, you know.
Right.
I left the band, I moved here, I didn't know anybody, didn't really have a plan.
Sure.
I tried to find a job here, and I got every door slammed in my face at, all the labels, even just internships, you know. So, I mean, it was sort of...
Well, you were trying to find a music industry job.
I was, yeah. And I think the problem was because I had done so much in music, they were seeing probably a conflict of interest there and just probably didn't want to hire somebody like me, you know, so...
Maybe. Or maybe they can get people that are approximately your age for free through internships and
sure. Well, that's the thing. You're competing with Belmont here, you know, and a lot of that. So absolutely,
which is a great program, and I work with a lot of people that have been through some of those programs. But it does mean that there are resources available that make it a little harder to find opportunities when you're trying to break in.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
And you know, when I first came here, and I'm blessed to have met Melissa now, and you know, to have Susan as well, because they are really well connected, know a lot of really great people like yourself, and so it's become a little bit easier to navigate when you at least have some friends and some people to fight for you in your corner. You know, without that,
or at least let you know that there's a pothole right there that you're about to step in.
Exactly. Yeah, and break your ankle.
Yep,
you know,
yep,
so
yep.
it all those things. I mean, that makes a world of difference. That's what helps you kind of get on the fast track or whatever you want to call it, because you can start to learn what not to do a lot faster. And that's really why they call Nashville the 10-year town, I think, because it takes that long to figure out what not to do. You know.
I think that's part of it. I think. I also think it is a 10-year town because a lot of people move to Nashville and they think, well, I moved. Where's my record deal?
Yeah.
I'm here. I mean, you'll go downtown anytime and you'll find great talent, people that have learned, you know, the newest top 10 songs, and people that have great gear. And you will find people that are playing songs that are 25 years old. They haven't learned a new song in 25 years.
Yeah.
They don't know the lyrics to anything, and their gear's broken.
Yeah.
And they think 10-year town isn't learn for 10 years, work for 10 years. It's just wait for 10 years.
Yeah, I got a great piece of advice before I came up here, which was don't come to Nashville unless you feel like you're missing out on work. Before coming up here, and I thought that was really good advice, because I do think a lot of people come up here and just think like, well, I'm here, and I was coming back and forth to Nashville working on my full album, for 2 years before I even moved up here. So, and I really didn't even know anything about Nashville at the time. So, I came here and went down to Live Oak and found out about the Writers Rounds and met friends, and sort of got my foot in the door at least a little bit. Yeah. Because, to come up here and really know absolutely nobody is like, that's kind of how I felt when I moved here, but I still had some friends. But, to come up here and know nobody, it's really tough to kind of get started.
Been there.
Yeah.
I know exactly. In fact, when I came to town, I visited with a friend and accidentally was offered a gig because the guy said he was producing a demo of a song that I had written. He didn't even know I played piano. They did the tracks. I showed up, sang it, and his name was Wade Kirby, and he was doing the demo, and he said, oh, you showed up on time, you're a good guy, you seem pretty easygoing, got a good attitude. I wish you played piano. I got this buddy of mine that keeps going through people, and he got bailed. Yeah. They bailed on it.
Wow.
I was like, okay, I can play. And then it was like, and I'm sure you know what this means, can you play or do you play country? Like the dum-dum country. Dum-dum, dum-dum. I was like, no, I can really play. And that was my first gig in town.
No kidding. Wow.
And I knew him for 30 minutes, an hour.
Yeah.
So you're coming to town, you're here, you're building your network, you've met, some folks that have gotten you started, you've done the Bluebird, you're doing some recording. You've met people that you've worked with. You've met people that you have not worked with. What are you looking for from the people that you want to collaborate with?
Well, I guess one of my main things, as you know, as a piano player and just as an instrumentalist or a musician, I played piano for 13 years, and it was one of those things I practiced every day, and it was because I loved it. It never felt like work to me, and all I really, I guess, ask for the people that I work with is that they view it the same way. It's something that they're super passionate about, and you can tell, because you can feel it when somebody really, like, this is their life, this is what they want to do, and it's their main purpose.
Yeah.
And so all I've really been looking for in people, and I've had the pleasure of playing with a ton of people like that, like John Marcus, for example, and Chris Lusinger, all those guys who have played.
You're talking about my bass player.
Yeah.
John Marcus, who played bass with Tim McGraw and toured with him and all that.
Yeah, and those guys.
How do you know John? How did you work with John?
So when I was with the band, the lead singer wanted to do a couple of his songs up here in Nashville, so I took him over to Dark Horse to work with Phil, the producer who you met at the Bluebird.
Oh, yeah.
Phil Wolf produces everything for me.
Yeah, I saw him today, in fact.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah, oh, that's awesome. And so Phil knows all those guys. He just became friends with them over time. Okay. And so those are the guys who really make my songs stand out. I come in with the idea, the concept, and they take it. They're the ones that take it to the next level. And we did some stuff with the lead singer, and John Marcus ended up playing bass, and nice. So I got to live track with him, which was just one of the coolest experiences ever. So, and the thing what makes those guys so great is you can tell this is what they've always wanted to do, and they're expert at it. They understand it, and so that's all I ask. From people is not necessarily be the greatest player of all time, but be kind and love what you do, and that shines through.
And give a crap.
Yeah. Care. Yeah.
I've certainly recorded a lot with John and done things, but I remember one of my favorite recording sessions was with a drummer named Rich Redmond. I don't know if you know who Rich is. You will. He plays on the road with Jason Aldean.
Wow.
Does a lot of sessions, but he and I were on the same session for, somebody getting going like yourself. And I don't remember, I forget how we got pulled into it. It was a session with Kyle Cook, who's the guitar player for Matchbox 20. And still, it was some kind of independent project. I hadn't thought of this in forever. Anyway, we had reached the end of the session, but Rich was still coming up with ideas. And I was still thinking, well, what if we did this? And so we stayed for another couple of hours, not because we're watching the clock, not because it's like, but it was just because we still had ideas going. And it was like, just, but I think this will be better. Let's just try that. And some of them were and some weren't. But, people that want to make stuff.
Yeah, I found the most elite players. I mean, and that's what it's all about, is finding those elite guys who can help take you to the next level. And, piano is my strong suit. It's always kind of been my main thing. And so, it's always kind of been like piano is up here at the top, and then, my songwriting is kind of in the middle, and then like my singing and vocals are kind of at the bottom. And I'm content with that hierarchy of things. I mean, I've put the most amount of time in my life to piano. And so, I just want people who have also kind of have that passion, because I mean, the elite guys are the ones who care the most. So, and that's just...
Okay, so that's the second time you've used that word in the last 60 seconds. So I want to know what you mean, because I know what a lot of people would say. When you say an elite player, what do you think that means?
I think it's because one thing I've learned about Nashville is you're never going to dazzle somebody with just like playing fast or whatever. It's all about content. It's not about necessarily like how you do something or whatever, but it's what you play in that space. And I've had the pleasure of seeing the Time Jumpers, for example. They're one of the best examples, in my opinion, as people who understand what it means by great content versus just showing what I can do. And the reason I love all those session guys is because, they can hear a song once and they know where that point is to not overplay. Yeah. And, they can do whatever they want.
Right.
But that, to me, was the difference between a good player and a great player. A good player can play everything, but he doesn't know where it's supposed to be. Right. And so for me, the elite guys were the people who know when their spot is and what content really should fill the context, I guess.
I like that answer. I'm going to underline just a little piece of it. Like I know, like I have all the right answers. I don't have the right answers. But, and you're kind of, I think you see this, you just didn't say it. They also know when not to play.
That's probably the most important thing. Yeah, exactly.
My favorite guitar player in Nashville, who helps us a lot here, Tommy Leland. If you haven't heard him, you need to hear him. First time I ever played with him, he was one of the most generous players. And what I mean by that is he may very well have been the best musician on stage, but he was cueing somebody else for a solo, nodding to somebody else to take the fill. It wasn't like those guitar players that are great, but they're so great they want to fill everything.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's, to your point of content, it's letting the space be the space. Why can you see a spotlight? Because everything else around it is dark.
Yeah.
That's the only note being played in that moment,
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, and I guess that's what makes those session players, like I said, so fantastic. I mean, whenever we would live track, we would do just drums, bass, acoustic, and I would play piano. And every time I would listen to the tracks, I would think like, man, I feel like the drummer didn't do anything. And then I hear the end result, and I'm like, everything he played was absolutely perfect because he saw the vision.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm like, that's an elite player. He saw everything that I didn't see, and he's only heard the song one time.
Well, you're in the place to get exposed to a lot of that.
Yeah.
So I know you're already here, working on some of your music, building what you expect to be a foundation for something. What is the thing that if people are, getting a sense of what Colton Pointz is doing, I mean, they can already follow you, they can always track some things. What are you kind of pointing people to right now that's your current, here I am?
Yeah. Well, right now we're pushing a single that I have out, Magnolia, to radio. I'm going down to Chattanooga for Hits 96 next week. It's getting a radio spin down there. We have a couple radio spins here in town, I think, coming up. I'm not sure exactly the stations yet. I think I'm going to find out on Friday. So that's one of the main things that we're pushing right now. I have about 13 more songs that are in the chamber that I had done that we're just waiting to get some mixes back. I don't know when those will be released. We're still kind of pushing Magnolia and want to see kind of where that goes. But as far as seeing me live, we want to push the piano. That's the main thing. Because, I mean, it's all about in this town, like, how are you different? I mean, there's so many incredible artists here. Like, what makes you worth coming to see?
Sure.
And so we're trying to do the thing is like, yes, I play guitar as well. And, guitar gives you a little bit room to move around the stage. That's kind of, the only downside of piano. Sometimes you get kind of stuck in a spot. So I've been learning to play standing up, which allows me to move around a little more. But when I would play sitting down, I would use my foot to play like Jerry Lee Lewis on stuff. So that was like its own kind of like gimmick and fun thing. But standing up, it was always cool to sit down and do the foot thing. But now that I'm standing up, it has a little bit better stage presence and stuff as well. So
well, and really, I mean, you're on McMahon on keys. That's what we're talking about right now. So is there another instrument that's more important than the piano? Really?
I don't know.
You don't know? You're a piano player talking to a piano player, and you're on McMahon on keys, and you don't know?
Well, I just didn't want to give a very too posh of an answer, you know. I mean, I love the piano, and it's always been my main thing. And the reason I was drawn to it was because there was something about being able to play the melody and the fill at the same time that felt special to me. Because I started with trumpet, and I was like, I'm not getting everything here.
Okay.
So
here, we're gonna try this again, because it's important to know as you build relationships with other musicians, other artists. You know, sometimes you're playing songs the way they want them to be played. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna try this again. So you're a piano player.
Yes.
I'm a piano player. You're on a podcast called McMahon on Keys. McMahon on Keys.
Right.
So in your opinion, I mean, I'm just curious, is there an instrument that's more important than the piano?
No, and I will tell you why.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those instruments that when you have it in the band,
right,
it'll always take the band to the next level.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I mean, around town, I don't see piano players around here, especially like on Broadway. And I've asked people, I was like, well, why aren't there piano players down there? And I always get the same answer, which is, well, we don't want to pay for one. Right. And so I was like, really? I was like, okay. I mean, and I've actually offered several times now, like to be like, honestly, like I'll play the first one for free. I'd really like, I'm not about the money on that one. Yeah. You know, I just think it'd be really fun. I think it'd be great practice. And I've done enough in a band where like, you know, I feel like I know my place and how to, you know, just get the crowd going with, you know, a couple famous licks.
That's how you learn, is by getting in there and doing it. Mm-hmm. So
I hope that was a better answer.
It was a better answer. I'm just going to edit right after you said, no, there's nothing more important. We'll just cut it there, and then we'll leave the rest of it.
Yep, perfect.
I want everybody to be able to find your stuff. You know how to stalk me, but they need to know how to stalk you. Mm-hmm. So let everybody know how to find you, track your stuff down, stalk your music.
Yeah. So you can check out all my social media. It's just my name, Colton Pointz. Everything has the same handle, so you can check out my Facebook, my Instagram, Spotify. I have Magnolia out as my main single right now, but I have another single out called Timber, which is just about my life as a musician so far. So I hope you enjoyed that story and the journey that I've been on at this point. Check out my website. It's just coltonpointz.com. You can see all the places that I'm playing, a lot of upcoming events here in Nashville. So, yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, thank you.
For finding time.
That was an honor.
I have one favor. Mm-hmm. If you get ready to audition for anybody, make sure that I'm not auditioning, because I don't want the heat.
Well, it's funny. I talked to was John Prestia.
Yeah,
and
John.
He's good friends with Phil. And I texted him before I came to town, and I actually said because he's very into that auditioning world. And I said, John, if there's ever somebody who needs a piano player for something, I'd love to audition. Just as a chance. I think it'd just be great practice, and they'll probably tell me no, and that's okay. You know, but I thought it'd be great just to do it and learn. So I mean, obviously, if I'm competing against you, I'm just gonna pack my stuff and go home. But
well, I don't know about that. Just out of kindness. Because I'm fragile now. I can't take the competition.
Right.
Thank you, brother. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it, Jeff.
Hey, y'all. I'm Maddie True. For more clips from CRS, click the top button. And for more episodes, including live performances from the podcast, click the bottom button. I'm with McMahon on Keys.